I don't know if we should have something like intro or whatever, but like something we say or whatever, but I don't really care.
We got the music.
Is it bumping?
We can.
There it is. Y'all hear that?
It's not very loud.
Sorry, bro. I got you. Oh my God. Sorry. That was loud.
Let him cook.
All right, let him cook.
Welcome to It's All
Omni.
Welcome to It's All Omni. I guess correct. As you can see above you, behind you, right here. We got the new name and stuff. We're no longer Omni Talks because it sounds cool. Like you get it. Like it's all on me. Like whatever. All right. So we got camera 1 over there. We got what is that? That's Jack. We got camera 2 over there. We got the wide shot. Ooh. Camera 3. We got Moses and Tavian or whoever this guy is. I don't know. This guy kind of whoever he showed up. We got camera over here. We got Javon.
Dude, we found him in a dumpster. He's a little dumpster baby today.
Prom night dumpster baby.
Yeah. So basically the gist of this podcast is that we kind of talk about more like mind, body, spirit, mental sovereignty, that improvement, self-growth type stuff. That's the main goal of it for real. Before we get into that though, I wanted to mention our last podcast, our episode 0. What I talked about before was the idea of how words are super powerful. Like there's like this energy to it where like everything you say has like an energy to it basically. And even if you're not aware of what you're saying, like the energy is still there. That's like the main thing. And we brought up words like can't or always and never. Those are really powerful words because, they can't means like for every single time you attempt something, you'll never do it basically. That's whenever you say can't, that's what you're saying basically. So, but we brought it up last time, but I never actually mentioned like ways you can either avoid saying it or just ways you can work around it. So imagine say like, I can't run a 5-mile run versus I can't run a 5-mile run yet. Like it's different, right? When you use words like yet or for now or just temporary or just make it basically cement it in time, basically what that does is instead of having that negative energy be affected by you like for every single like iteration of whatever you're trying to do, like you can never ever run a 5-mile run. Now you're saying it's just like temporary or it's like you're putting it in time where it's like, boom, I'm not only just, I can't always just like forever, I can't do it. You're just saying just for right now, I can't do it. So basically you're cutting into pieces and making it much better.
Manifesting.
Yeah, basically. Because like with that said, it reminds me of this one Jim Quick quote. And if you don't know who Jim Quick is, I'd look him up. His story is cool. He was born with like the boy with a broken brain, but now he's able to memorize a whole crowd of people, like their faces and their names, like in order, like after a show, and then at the very end of it, like it's crazy. But he had this one quote where it was like, "If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them." And what do y'all think? What do you think that means when you hear that? Because I definitely didn't know what it first meant.
I mean, to me, the first thought is just kind of like, I guess the excuses that you kind of give yourself in a bit. Like, I don't know if you're like, oh, I'm so busy, or like, oh, I just don't have time to do certain things. And for example, if you're trying to work out and go to the gym and you're just not simply like taking the time, because I mean, there's always time. You can always make time and shift it around. I mean, granted, not every day maybe, but over time you can, even if it's just something little. So I think just in terms of that, like just making excuses, because it's very easy in today's day and age to make an excuse.
What y'all think about that quote? If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. What do you think that means?
I mean, I think it just like kind of plays into like learning. When you fight to learning is a process. It takes energy. And once you learn it, you keep it. Yeah. Right?
Facts. What do you think?
I would say there are only actions and reactions. So you saying anything is an action, and therefore it will have a reaction, whether
we'll get to that later.
I
agree with that hardcore. So basically what I took from it is that which I agree with y'all was saying, basically y'all are on the right, like it's like the same thing, you're on the right track. But what I took from it is that you fight for your limitations. It means if you say I can't do it, or I suck, or I just you constantly say those things. That's literally you like defending your limitations. It's like you're proving to yourself, yeah, I can't do it. Yeah, I'm not good at that. And it's like you're fighting for it. So if you fight for anything like those negative things, you'll keep those negative things because you're manifesting. You're saying like, yeah, I can't do it. It's not possible. I can never run 5 miles. I can never like be smart enough to do that. Blah blah blah. Like it's literally you fighting for it. So if you don't fight for limitations, that means you're not gonna have your limitations anymore. You'll be able to your mind type beat.
You're putting yourself in a box.
Yeah. Oh, that's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, back to this topic of words. So yeah, the whole idea of just like cementing it in time. But there's this one particular word that I find very, very, very interesting. It's the word wish. And it's weird because when you wish for something, it's okay. Basically, the whole point I'm trying to say is like, it's like your wishes will never come true. Like this is how it is. Like when you wish for something, it's kind of like you're putting it away from yourself. Or saying like, currently I don't have this thing I'm wishing for, and I don't think I'll ever get it. But it would be nice if it just like appeared on my lap suddenly. That's what you're saying when you use the word wish. Like if you said like, I wish I could be ripped and be a bodybuilder and go to the gym. Why not just say I want to go to the gym and be a bodybuilder and be ripped? Like using the word want versus wish, whole different energy. I was just thinking about that recently. I was like, why would you ever wish for something when you can just will it to existence by actually doing it, by wanting to do it? So it's like,
I feel like that's just how life is. You know, like it's not that we're afraid of how we'll fail. It's afraid of how great we'll be. You know, like if you're as great as you can be, there's nothing else to complain about. And if you're still not happy, it just makes you even more sad. You know,
yeah.
People thinking like money or getting ripped and all these like little things will make them happy. But once you get in, you're not happy. You're like, damn.
I do think like depending on your mindset, like wishing something can help create a picture. Like when you have a dream, or like when you dream something, not everything in your dream is like capable of happening, but it creates a picture of something that you might think you like, right?
Can you elaborate on like why you think it can't happen, like certain things?
Like literally in a dream, like there's things that happen that are impossible, right?
It turned into a piece of pie.
But like when you say I wish I could fly or something, or like maybe more realistically, like I wish I could be ripped. It, like what Moses was saying, it doesn't help you. But what I'm trying to say is that it can create a picture, and if you like know how to like change your mindset, it can that picture can help you get where you want to go.
Yeah. It's kind of what you were saying before in the last podcast about how using negative things as a Kickstarter, basically. Yeah, I agree that you could definitely use it as an ignition fuel, basically.
Yeah.
But kind of what Tate said, but like last time as well, where it's like sustainably wise, it's not something you would only bank on for full things. But definitely, yeah, I do agree. You could definitely. But I guess my point is like this. I'd rather go for things that actually no, it's not. It's not. I'd rather not go for those things, but like focus more on things that are just consistent already, because it's one thing to start with that, but I'd rather you could always already just say I want to do it. Boom, will into existence.
Exactly.
I feel like wishing for the right person is the first step, and wishing for like somebody that isn't the right person is like that's like their last step. You know, like it just repeats. Like, oh, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes like I got one more day. You know?
Yeah,
it's my own problem, my own life.
And that's the consistency.
Nullify yourself to changing, resist it.
Yeah,
like you said with the
that's the consistency. It's like I said last time. The whole like if you eat a donut, you're like, okay, I can eat a donut today, it's fine. But then the next day, you're like, I can eat just one donut today, it's fine. And then the next day, it keeps going. It feels like it's just one donut, but if you do it every day, it's not just one donut type beat. So it's like that.
I will say that like I don't know, there's something I saw where it was talking about kind of similar to what you're saying, like, oh, it's just one donut. It's one that it was like talking about how you can start thinking of your life in terms of like every decision you make is like a vote towards like your future. For example, if your goal is to get like ripped, like obviously like you deciding to eat a donut is a vote towards you not like meeting your future, you know?
That's interesting.
But like basically all you need is just a majority of votes, right, to win in the end.
Yeah.
So like you can still like have a donut every now and then, but like you like need the majority of the votes. And I think that's where like the sustainable discipline comes in, because at the end of the day, we are human. We're going to do human things that just aren't necessarily the greatest for us. Like we all get lazy sometimes. Like we procrastinate. We're not going to be perfect 100% of the time. So like, I think just being realistic and just making decisions. I mean, like you said about like, what was it exactly you said? Like actions and reactions?
Yeah, there are only actions and reactions.
Yeah, so like, I don't know, your actions will cause a reaction. And by you eating a donut almost every day, the reaction is going to be that you're going to have more body fat.
So going to like that kind of blend of the idea of sustainable discipline and also like the word stuff. So there's certain phrases that irk me nowadays that like I just try to avoid as much as possible. And a lot of people say it's like whatever, it's fine, it's their own life. But like phrases like it's in that same vein where like words can have energy, and like the broad words are really powerful. You use words like phrases like I'm so busy or I don't have time. Those are super crucial like sentences, because it's such a broad scope of what that's applying to. When you say I'm so busy, you really could be busy throughout the day, but when you limit it down to, when you like dumb it down to just being busy for the entire thing, you could have like 3 things going on, but still feel like you're busy. You could have like a million things, well, not a million, you could have like 10, 20 things going on in one day and still feel like you're busy. So like the fact that you can still feel the word of busy, despite that, it's
I feel like one word that might, I don't know, that's just like less charged in my brain is just using like I've been occupied. And especially just saying like I've been occupied with other things. Because like you generally do get occupied with other things at time. And like that's okay. But
you know why that works as a word instead of busy? Occupied has this like kind of similar how the way when you say like for now or yet where it cements in time. Occupied means you're at this current moment you're actually doing something. Busy can mean that as well, but busy could just mean a lot of things overall. It can mean you're just tired, you're doing all this other stuff. Like it goes into that.
For me, busy is just like, it's too broad of a word.
Yeah.
And it's also like in today's society, it's just like, I don't know, it's kind of just a cop out.
Yeah. And like, here's the thing. Nothing wrong with, because everyone has their own life. Nothing wrong with saying like I'm so busy. Like you're not going to like die after saying it after that. But it's just the idea of the consistency where it's like, I'd rather acknowledge what I'm doing. It's exactly, because it's like a cop out, right? If I'm saying I'm busy, I may not actually be compared to other people or compared to what I'm supposed to be doing, like actually busy, but it's just an easy way to be like, yeah, I'm busy. I don't feel like doing it. I'm done. I'm busy.
It's all about perspective.
Yeah.
Oh, if you want it bad enough, you'll have it.
Yeah, I don't know. I was going to say like, I don't remember that exact quote that Armin says in Attack on Titan, but you probably know it better than me, where it's like, if you don't sacrifice, then what you want becomes a sacrifice or something. Or was it like, I think I might get it right. I don't know. You can probably say it better than I
forget, but I know what you're talking about. But this is cool because I was gonna get to idea perspective. We'll get down to the other stuff later. But so I've after watching shows like Attack on Titan particularly, and those shows that have perspectives. What I've learned,
Dark.
Yeah, dark. Oh yeah, dark is one of them for sure. But what I've learned is I've coined the concept of perspective causality. Where's that camera? Ooh. But basically, it's the idea that if you think like on a very universal, broad scale, technically there's really no such thing as good or bad because one person's good can be the other person's bad and vice versa. And really, what it really comes down to is just a bunch of different perspectives and cause and effect. And like that's why when you said the reactions, I was like, oh yeah, he's spitting.
That's all there is.
Yeah. And basically, I call it perspective causality because literally, yeah, it's a bunch of perspectives and cause and effects. And from those causes and effects, depending on whatever perspective you had during those moments, that's what makes what you just like depict as good or bad. So during whatever that cause and effect was, whatever your perspective of it was, that's where you come from, like the idea of good and bad. So it's like, with that said, that changes a lot of things because now it kind of opens up your brain to more perspective overall. Because instead of just seeing things like, oh yeah, that person's bad, or oh yeah, because that guy's a Democrat, he's bad. That guy's a Republican, he's bad. Now you actually think of perspective, think of the actual forward ideas, as opposed to just making dichotomies and be like good, bad, evil, good, like blah 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 blah. Like
everything's gray, pretty much.
There's a lot of gray areas.
I mean, but everything has a trade-off though. Even when it comes to like views and stuff, like Democrats and Republicans. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm not gonna get into that right now, but like, you know what I mean. Like, I don't know. There's not everything is always good or not everything's bad. It's just gray, just like you said. I mean, there's going to be positives and negatives to everything.
It's just like, I mean, you take a lot of people that are sexual offenders or like child molesters or more likely sexually abused and molested, not giving them the okay to do it. But like, you're nothing more than your experiences laid on top of each other.
But yeah, that was But I mentioned when you said Attack on Titan, I was like, that's interesting because the example I had on here was like, so for anyone who hasn't watched Attack on Titan or has been living under a rock and hasn't watched season 4 by now, basically it's a story of this guy like he's living with these giant monster things and like his whole life's been ruined by them because everyone's been getting eaten by them and there's a lot of death and tragic sacrifice and all this stuff. For majority of the story, you follow for like 3 seasons, like the main characters, and you're rooting for them because they've lost so much stuff from these monster things. And then season 4 comes out of nowhere, and suddenly, they're in reality. So let me back up. In that world, like humanity's basically been reduced to like within these walls, and they think everything outside the walls there's no more humans. It's just only them. But in season 4, you realize that there's still a whole outside world, and that outside world all has been sending those monsters to them. And they don't like them, but they have their own reasons for why that's. When you first you watch it thinking, oh, these outside guys are all evil, but then you see their backstory, and you're like, oh, they also have reasons for why they're doing this. So it brings the idea of there's no such thing as good and bad. And that's also what Armin says in the show actually at one point too. He hates the words good and bad or good and evil because they're really your good can be my bad and my bad can be your good. So it's like, sheesh. Switching to a different topic, Jack, you mentioned before you want to talk more about specifically like discipline and routines and consistency. You want to go into that?
Oh shoot. Honestly, I thought this would be a good topic because it's something that I've been consistently dealing with in my life. Recently getting off like ADHD medication, I've had to like really focus on being disciplined because my attention span is like every minute or two I gotta like really be on myself. And I think I work out a lot, and I think that really plays into how well my discipline is for myself, because literally just sitting there, even like stretching or doing like weight training, you're fighting a force in your body, and your brain has to consistently tell yourself to keep doing this, keep telling you what is good, even though it hurts.
Yeah.
And that just has helped me out so much in life. And I feel like that's an important topic that everyone should know something about.
Agreed. And like that actually, I have another point on here that kind of, it's cool. Like I had some written points on my iPad here, and like what y'all been saying, if it's kind of like the things I've written down. But like, yeah, that reminds me of the idea before I was talking about the three keys to like a stable, like mental sovereign life, basically, is exercise, journaling, and meditation. Exercise, definitely crucial. But if you add those other two things onto there, you'll be, not that it's like a guaranteed thing, you'll be like woke or conscious or whatever, but like it'll definitely like impact a lot, quite a bit. Basically, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to ask you to repeat what those three things
Oh,
were.
right, yeah. Exercise, journaling, and meditation. And when I say journaling, it doesn't have to only be like writing a diary type beat. There's many ways you can journal. It's really, journaling in itself really is just like taking your thoughts and putting it into a third dimension, putting it into either like in writing or music or whatever type of form that you can actually look at and read that's like bound by time now, basically, or see or feel or whatever. But if you do all those three things together, it's sheesh. And basically, and I was thinking about it, it's like, you know, people always talk about the mind, body, spirit, or mind, body, soul connection type thing. You ever heard that? Y'all heard of that?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So like journaling, exercise, meditation, that literally mind, body, spirit. So exercise, obviously body, right? Meditation, mind. Meditation is all about focus, where it's like, I'll get to that later actually. But yeah, meditation is about focus, and journaling is about the spirit. So meditation, okay, it's an interesting topic because like whenever you think of meditation, y'all think of like just like you're like, oh, like you're just sitting down doing that type of, right?
I mean, right off the bat, yeah, but also too, that definition's changed for me over the years.
Same.
I was gonna say one thing that those things also have in common to me personally is like journaling, exercise, meditation. Those are all things that involve you actually setting a time and like taking time for yourself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that a lot of people just don't do, but that's also time to get in touch with yourself. I mean, like you said, like exercising, you're gonna get in touch with your body. That's also gonna strengthen your discipline because you're pushing your body to do something hard that you genuinely don't wanna do. I mean, journaling, you're sorting through the thoughts that are in your brain and you're writing them out. And, like you're processing them, feeling them.
Can I add to that point of like working on yourself? I was literally just talking to my girlfriend about this the other day, and she was like, now that I'm starting to exercise more, I'm realizing how my bad diet is affecting my body. And like, you don't realize like what's going on in your body until you really test yourself.
Yeah.
And that's just something cool that I've understood about
That's
my
facts.
body. And I think like when you say your three pillars, I'd like to ask you like where does diet play into that?
Oh, okay. So I kind of, when I say three pillars, that's like the main, like big three things. There's definitely other sub things that go along with it as well. Like for example, stretching, even just breathing itself, stretching, breathing together, gratitude. But yeah, diet would be its own little like subsection. But I was thinking like those main three things will definitely get you at least the start to the mental.
So technically, would your pillars just be mind, body, and spirit? Because I feel like those three things could be interchangeable with other things. You know?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, technically. But
Everybody's different on their own. Everybody has their own pillars. Everybody needs structure, though. That's the important part.
Yeah, I was gonna say that kind of basically is that instead of saying mind, body, spirit, it's very vague since you could be many different things. Ultimately, that's what it does boil down to. But when I say exercise, journaling, meditation, those are specific things you can do to like actually get to those things. Crap, you said something sparked an idea, but I totally forgot what it was. But that's fine. I guess I want to mention like I want to explain meditation to people. Meditation, it does not always have to be like you get in that Zen state, you're closing your eyes, you're not thinking of anything. Really, meditation in itself is literally just about focus, where there's many ways to do it. For example, the way I do it myself is first of all, when people say you don't think of anything, that's dumb because it's like your brain's supposed to think about stuff. That's what it does. If your brain stops thinking about stuff, it's essentially like your heart.
Physically impossible.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
brain
It's
can't stop thinking.
like trying to meditate and telling yourself that you shouldn't think about stuff. It's like telling your heart stop beating. Like, why would you? Like, it's gonna start thinking about stuff. So with that said, you have options. You could try to think of one thing and then stay with that one idea in your head. And if other ideas start coming in, you realize, oh, I've strayed off topic. I've acknowledged that. Let me go back to that one thing and focus on that. And that's why the idea of like mantras and stuff come in.
I think, one thing that was pretty big for me with meditation is just learning that like I'm not my thoughts.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Like
he's fired. That's what it does. Go ahead.
Because like I don't know. I mean, learning meditation, like it's kind of like helped me tune into like my own voice, you know?
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, with my thoughts, like I've been through a lot of shit in my life. So basically like I had negative voices in my head that were just like
ants.
I mean, yeah, ants, like automatic. And like I realized I traced the voices back to where they came from. And then like I was able to start trying to find like my own true voice. But basically all you are in your head is just like the viewer of the thoughts that are passing by.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're humans. We have millions of thoughts every day. And like so many thoughts go by that like, I mean, how many thoughts did you have 30 seconds ago that now you probably couldn't even tell me?
Yeah. He's spitting. So like, yeah, when you meditate and when you do like basically, yeah, when you think of that one thing and you have all these thoughts, that's basically what the end goal is. Basically, you realize that, yeah, you have all these thoughts swarming through, but whatever you think that you act upon, that's what you truly are. Mm-hmm. And when you don't meditate, when you don't already have that perspective already, you might hear like an automatic negative. Well, that's what, when I said ants earlier, ants is an acronym for automatic negative thoughts. And we all experience it at some point in general. But like, when you don't have this perspective of meditation and having your own minds, basically, and like you might get an automatic negative thought, and you might be thinking, oh, that's me thinking that, oh, I am bad at this, oh, blah, 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 and it actually affects you, as opposed to, if I got an ant right now, I'm just like, I'm chilling, like, I understand it, I can trace it and be like, okay, I see where this ant's coming from, I understand why I think this, but I'm gonna keep moving forward. But that's one form of meditation, like the idea of like thinking of something and it bouncing around, if ideas coming in, like you only focus on one thing. There's another form I'm drawing a blank for, I forget, but it's fine. But yeah, it doesn't have to be that idea of just like you sit down like, oh, you're meditating. There's definitely, you can even, and not just only, you don't have to be sitting down to do it. You can be meditating while walking, you can be meditating while working. It's like a mind flow state in the first place. So
I don't know if y'all have ever tried it though, but if you get like the right vibrations going, like on some music while you do it, I don't know why it intenses it for me. And like, I don't know if it's a placebo effect or what, but like, I don't know. Vibrations are just crazy.
Vibrations
the influence they have on things around them.
Yeah, bro. Vibrations are everything. Like,
and I think it's funny. You'd never learn about that in school. You learn about lasers don't bend, light doesn't bend and shit, but we never talk about how music and sound like changes everything.
Everything is literally vibrating. That's how we're exchanging. Like the little wavelengths are like going everywhere. Like literally everything's vibrating. The earth has a vibrating, like basically like a heartbeat. It's called the Schumann's resonance, I think. Like there's literally a specific frequency that it vibrates on, and that I think it's. I remember the whole idea of like the 432 hertz thing, but I remember looking at articles saying that was actually true. That people made it up, but I don't know. But there was other stuff about there's actually specific.
I'm pretty sure that's true. I'm pretty sure the Earth does have like a vibration. Like everything has like a, like I mean it has a sound. You know, like like if you listen to deep space, there's sound because it's like vibration, movement, all the stuff. Yeah, I should have clarified. It definitely does have a vibration. The Schumann's resonance is real, but I was saying like people say the specific like hertz for it is 432 because in this realm of spiritual stuff, 432 is like it's a number that pops up in like so many different areas. I don't have the site up with me right now, but there's like not even just like with the Earth, but like other like planets, the moon, like there's all kinds of like areas where that number will pop up just randomly. Like wow, wonder why. But I mean, I don't know how much I believe in sacred geometry, but I think it definitely does have some layer of truth. Like I hate when like our generation gets a hold of something because they like make it super, super big, like super outlandish, when in reality it's like astrology. Like that's what millions of civilizations use to like navigate, to like, I mean, it's stories about it, but like now it's that controls everything. Like that explains everything, you know? Yeah, that's the sad thing. There's like, cause it's like this, there's a truth to it, but you're right, that it gets, the way it's applied nowadays, it's like that truth is like here. And then people thinking like, yo, people are gonna believe in this, let's expand this to this, and they exaggerate some things, and now you get lost in translation. Like I could see some truth to it, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think like there's a pattern to it though. Like you look at stories throughout history, the longer they get passed down, like the more stretched out they get. I don't
Yeah.
think anyone's like necessarily. I mean, yeah, there's
Purposely doing
probably
it.
people that are purposely like stretching truth.
Making
So like,
money.
Yeah.
I mean,
Make the money, bro. You gotta do what you gotta do.
religion, you see that all the time.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
I do think that it's hard to just pass down a story without like putting your own spin or opinion on it.
That's facts.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever
things are
go
gonna
ahead.
change and stuff all the time. But I guess like one thing, that, like when you were talking about that, like one thing I just like don't necessarily like agree with is like when people believe in something and they don't ever question it. Like I don't know, like because
Blind
also like
affinity.
one thing that I've like learned is like I mean obviously we're humans, we're gonna have opinions, like we're opinionated people, some more than others, but like I don't know, like being open minded because I've learned that like my views are gonna like they've changed a lot and they're also always gonna continue to change because I'm always learning, like I'm always growing, and that's not a bad thing. And just like
It's funny.
I feel like people just aren't always open. Sorry.
It's fighting
No,
for
I
his
was
limits.
cutting you off, my bad. I was gonna say like the Adventure Time when Jake's talking about how like my mind isn't ever, it's a formless shape, but like it's ever changing. I am constantly like not the same person I was a second ago.
I mean, but with that being said, though, like the biological standpoint of like, I saw this video on Instagram the other day. It was like literally like a neuron, like it was like attaching itself to another neuron. But with that being said, though, is like if you're talking about like automatic negative thoughts, like the reason most people have automatic negative thoughts is because they go on for so long, and that neuron's firing, it's firing, it's firing, it's firing, it's going all the time, and nobody's ever questioning it. Nobody's ever stopping it and slowing it down and like growing a new neuron.
There's some hardcore hyperactivity in the amygdala.
Which is why stuff like meditation is so good because it allows your brain to slow down and like form new neuron bonds and break other ones.
Yeah, and with that said, something else that Jim Quick says, kind of along those lines, is like when we're born, like we're not born with an instruction manual for the brain. Like we're just kind of we're brought in here, but there's throwing some information at us, but we're not really told like learning how to learn or learning what like just about ourselves itself. Basically, we're just kind of just like these types of things we're talking about. How when you those neurons firing off and like the negative thoughts just already being there and it's becoming an already like normal habit thing. Like we're not told about that initially, so we don't have the perspective to actually break away from that normally. Not for like everybody, but like it's just not like a consistent thing. Like to me, I just always find it weird how you can have in schools you have math. You can name the main like big like topics. You have math, reading, like science, social studies. You can name those big topics, but why isn't meta learning one of those topics? Why isn't like learning how to learn like one like why isn't that such a central thing?
Well,
And
I will say, well, after you.
I was just gonna say, like, learning how to learn, I feel like is the teacher's job to like teach into the subject. Because like I did have like a music instructor who's always repeated that. He was like, my job is not to teach you how to read this music, it's to teach you how to teach yourself. Which always kind of resonated with me. So I think like that's more on the teacher than it is the school. But at the same time, like the school can help the teachers like
I feel like it mostly falls on the parents because your first 4 years of life is like when you're most impressionable, like learning how to solve things on your own, like learning how to be your own person, but still feel like you're loved and that you can love yourself is like a combination for a successful, great person.
I guess I'm talking more about specific things like the gym. Oh, we have a minute warning, by the way, because those cameras shut off in 30 seconds. But I'm trying to summarize this. Gym Quick video, the thing about him, like he had like a brain deficiency when he was first born, but the way he got past it was by learning about learning, like meta learning for himself. There's specific techniques like mnemonics or just like specific like things you can actually that are very teachable, that are very, very teachable that we could be taught that aren't taught basically. That's why I'm like, why is that not already like a thing? But
Can we not just keep the cameras rolling?
we can, but they're gonna stop recording.
No, I know, but like just go back and press record.
Oh yeah, we could do that. Okay, if we want to, yeah, we could do that. It's going pretty fire. Let's take a quick little record break pause. Then, all right, cut right here. Boop. Beep. We'll go ahead.